Veteran Jason Beardsley is being billed as one of tonight's headliners at the RNC. Jason, we're just hearing that the Baton Rouge gunman was targeting police officer like, quote, prey. Is that something you plan on addressing tonight?
You know, tonight's address, Charles, by the way, is about America and how we need leadership to kind of lead us into the next century. I think a lot of us are going to talk about what is ripping this nation apart and how much we feel for the families and the victims of these police officers. But let's be clear, we need leadership from the top to get behind our law enforcement and rally our country behind that thin blue line is there to protect society. So we're going to get a chance tonight to talk a lot about that, a lot about our military veterans, and how excited we are about saving this country.
You know, Jason, I found what you said to be very intriguing, the notion of focusing on the next century, because I've always said for a very long time, I think President Obama has spent so much time and energy and passion on fighting wars of yesteryear and relitigating them in some form or fashion, whether it's through policy or rhetoric, instead of focusing on the amazing achievements that we've made as a nation. Do you think the right leadership can mend this and turn it around before it gets worse?
Absolutely. You know, the right kind of leadership is exactly what's needed. It's worked in the past. When you get leaders that stand up and are excited about America, this is the greatest country in the world. When they say that frequently and loudly, the American people want to hear that, and we will rally the troops behind. Let me tell you, our soldiers, service members that have been fighting these wars for years, we're not war weary. If you give us the mission, we will close it down. We will destroy the enemy. But we have to be clear about who the enemy is. We have to define them, and that we can't be afraid to go after them with the gusto that this country has mustered. Our World War II generation did it, and we call them our greatest generation. Why? Because they took everything they needed to close this war down. That's the kind of leadership we're looking for now.
You know, I remember back then, you know, entire families would sign up for military service, and you know, entire families were even wiped out. I don't know if things changed after the Vietnam War. I do feel like it had an impact with the war coming into our living rooms. And I guess that's the key, Jason. Could a President Trump say to the American public, hey, I do need this one particular time to put American boots on the ground, and some will perish, but the mission is worth their lives?
You bet. And by the way, that's what it takes, is the leader has got to clearly spell out the gains. We've got to talk about what we can do and how we can accomplish it. We cannot equivocate with the enemy, and we cannot dither around identifying them. You know, this fascist jihadism, the Salafi form of this violent stream, we haven't even named it. So right now, we haven't named the enemy. We haven't really engaged in this fight. And I'm telling you, you're going to hear from Commander Zinke tonight. I'll call him that. He's a congressman. Lieutenant Colonel Joni Ernst. You're going to hear from me, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And you're going to hear from veterans who can take this fight to the enemy, but we've got to have the policies to back us up. We've done it before. We've got Afghanistan and Iraq in the early stages. We had victory within our grasp. We can get it back, but it needs excellent leadership.
Jason, thank you very much. We look forward to hearing you tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, Charles.